isn't it? Because usually we address the camera.
We do.
It's something a bit like, hey, welcome to SpeedRun sort of thing, but I guess this is a bit different. So maybe we just start with that. We're back, are we?
Maybe.
Maybe? I don't know. This is a... Can you believe it? It's been 5 years since we...
It's been a full 5 years.
It's been 5 years since we essentially left SpeedRun.
Yeah.
But before we start with that, here's to the end of 2022.
Cheers.
Cheers. And it's good to see you.
It is very good to see you.
5 years is a long time. A lot's changed. This is more so just a bit of a laid back, we'll call it a reunion. 5 years on, what have we been doing sort of situation. I assume we'll just jump straight into it because there's no real structure in this video. It's more a sit down and a chat about where we left off with SpeedRun, the kind of things that we did back in the day. A lot's changed.
Yeah, that's changed actually.
There's an elephant in the room. I guess we'll talk about that a little later on. SpeedRun. Where do we kick off?
Jeez, where did we leave off? So what was the last videos that we did? I mean, so I had a quick look through our social media, and one of the last things we did was a hot imports night video.
At Shannon's.
Or
Shannon's at the auction house. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one of the last things that I've seen, but I can't recall if we did anything after that.
Look, I don't remember anything after that, but there could have been. I know that we did a lot of personal things with our own cars that probably didn't make it onto the channel.
Yeah.
And I think today we'll address some of those things. There's a lot of, I guess, missing information, or to some people we may appear to have just dropped off the face of the planet. But we want to make it clear we do have full-time jobs.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. SpeedRun was more of a passion project, a hobby that we started that created and kind of snowballed really quickly into something that we didn't think it would ever be.
Yeah. A lot of that was thanks to you guys, following us, watching videos, commenting.
Yeah. We met some cool people, cool builds. That's all it was. It wasn't anything serious at the end of the day.
No, well, it certainly didn't start out that way, but it did expand. It did get to the point where it's starting to expand beyond just meeting new people and builds to actually connected with businesses and the wider industry, through big events that we did, like World Time Attack. We start to meet a lot of, big businesses and companies and stuff.
High profile people that are connected to World Time Attack. And
that's what I'm getting at.
The Evo got Yokohama trade stand.
Yeah,
promo car.
It did.
Yeah, from the previous year being on another trade stand that gained a little bit of traction, a little bit of...
Well, to be fair, that's where it took off, is that it was on that trade stand, unfinished, and it was with two other big GDR builds, yet the Evo was getting all the attention, despite it not being running. These two GDRs were running and all that sort of stuff. And you're right, it grew from there, went to Yokohama, we met up with a lot of high profile people and businesses, and it was a pretty cool time actually.
Yeah, it was. If I could go back and do it all again, I'd do it exactly the same. Yeah, it was a great time. We don't take ourselves seriously, but we never took SpeedRun really seriously. We invested a lot of time and effort and money into a small business essentially, to make sure we were doing quality content. And I think one of the biggest things for me was every weekend or every second weekend we had something planned. Might not have made it to the channel, it might have been something on our own personal builds, but we were doing something every weekend. Especially when
it was absolutely getting to every weekend.
Yeah. Especially when we decided early on if we were doing events, the main thing we'd focus on is quality, but also turnaround time.
Yeah.
Once that event's finished, a lot of people didn't see the hours that went into editing and sitting down and getting the videos, polished to a degree that then we could upload or provide to the company that we did the event for.
Yeah, that's it.
When we've both got full-time jobs and trying to manage that side of thing, I do feel that does take its toll. And especially when...
Which we've got to remember, it is something that started off as a passion project and it was evolving into a part-time job almost.
Yeah.
Like,
Can you guys come to this event and film this video when we want to do promos for our car club, or we... I've got a car that we want to feature, a workshop we want to feature. We were doing stuff, a lot of the time. Some of it didn't make the channel, some of it went to companies direct. We did some stuff, some fun stuff. But I guess I just wanted to talk about, what we've been doing since then, because life is such a big thing that, that there would have been people that, I guess, see it as they were doing something or they were building a car and then they've just stopped and we haven't heard from them since, because it was kind of radio silence on our part. But things happen in life. I've now got 2 kids in 5 years. So one's 7 and the other one's 3.
I can't believe how fast that's gone.
So that takes a lot of time, and the travel and the being away from home probably wasn't the best.
It wasn't right for you.
Yeah.
The timing wasn't right. Yeah.
And I guess at that stage we were also living an hour apart.
That made it exceptionally hard.
Yeah. So to be able to brainstorm, catch up, edit together and bounce ideas off, it was
impossible.
To schedule a whole day out of my, and you too, a whole day to catch up and figure out what we're going to do. So I guess things just got away from us. But a lot's changed.
At the same time that you're sort of going through kids and you're living at the bay, an hour away. My career was ramping up hardcore, so I was stupid hours. I was weekends, so it was just taking us both away from what started as a little passion project and it evolved into us doing work for companies and businesses. So,
and I guess both of our professional careers outside of SpeedRun both went in a direction that had to take 100% focus.
Yeah, that's it.
For us to get to the stage where we're at now in our professional careers. So maybe we should touch on where we left off with our builds for the channel, because we had a few going on. I had the XR6 Project Daily, XR6 Turbo. I had the DC5 Integra.
Yeah. We had Project Big Rig at the time.
The Navara.
Yeah. Obviously the Evo, which is a pretty high profile build. Builds we had going on at the time, I think it was. Do you want to touch on yours first? Starting with the Project Daily, maybe?
So, Project Daily was a good concept. I think it was at the right time where a lot of, I knew a lot of people locally that were doing XR6 Turbo builds.
Yeah.
I didn't have a massive budget in mind, but also a big vision as to what the build would be, because the family factor was such an important thing. I couldn't go stupid crazy with the XR6 Turbo because it was the family car back in those days. So I think where we left off, it was really maintenance and repairs to keep it going. The drive shaft, I replaced the drive shaft. The rear diff, I had all those issues with the rear diff bushes, and then the diff plate, remember it went crazy, had its issues, so I had to replace that. I don't really think I did any other mods.
You did the intercooler piping. And
the intercooler and stuff
was it
like
a
that.
blow off valve or not? I can't remember, but there was a
Yeah.
couple of little things you did that were pretty fun, I guess.
F6 intercooler, nothing crazy.
Yeah, that's it.
Different bits and pieces. It was a good daily. I owned it for 5 years, and I reckon I put 100,000 kilometres on the clock, and I sold it kind of mid-peak COVID sort of crazy car prices, which we'll get into later, maybe in another video. But I didn't lose any money off it.
Which is incredible.
5 years later, bought it, sold it for the same price. I could have probably sold it for more. I justified how many kilometres were on the car, what I'd done with it. I was happy to not lose anything after 5 years, and it sold really quick.
Yeah.
So from what I understand, it's now up Queensland somewhere, and I don't really know. Haven't really been interested, to be honest. But the DC5 was probably the one build that really continued after the channel kind of stopped.
Yeah, it did actually. Yeah.
I think the last that the SpeedRun channel's probably seen would have been tuned on E85, still a 5-speed gearbox, still no LSD in it.
Yeah.
In basic aero, it still had the front splitter, rear wing, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Once the channel stopped, Type R 6-speed LSD gearbox went in it, and it changed the car dramatically. I should have done it years ago. It really, I guess it really showed me that the right ratios in that car for the power and weight that it was. Man, that K24 really woke up once it had the right gearbox in it. And it was such a good car. It was reliable.
I can attest to that, because I drove it a couple of times on the track, when on the street, but that was an awesome track car.
Yeah.
Reliable, great power to weight.
Yeah.
I've never drove it with the 6-speed, but it hauled ass even with the 5-speed. I can only imagine what it was like after you did that.
I think we had the car set up in a way that it was predictable, it was reliable, and it just handled. For a front-wheel drive car that had a little bit of understeer to begin with, I think we dialed it in a way that it was grip. So I upgraded the calipers, I upgraded the rotors as well. I found it's not listed on the Willwood website, but I compared the diameter and the measurements and stuff with a set of their racing series rotors. And they were same size. So I checked with the company in Sydney that I was buying them off. They said yes, technically they should work. And I got rid of... They were still slotted. It just got rid of the dimples or whatever they were, the drilled out.
The cross drill thing.
Yeah. And I think they were a bit better off a rotor. Same pad. And then after that, I went to a local hill climb event and bedded in the brakes and did a bit of testing, and then that's where it kind of finished. So after the hill climb event, as you know, we were house hunting and looking for a home, and found a good opportunity, found the right house and the right time to buy.
Perfect time to buy.
And it was a decision of, okay, I don't have the space that I had previously. It's a 2-car garage. I need to kind of, look at funds a little bit. How often am I going to use the Integra? What have I justified and what have I spent on it in the last 12 months? And am I going to make back that money if I sell it? So I listed it and it sold relatively quickly. So the last I know about the car is it's down in Victoria. It's had the 2.4 taken out.
Disappointing.
And it's now a 2-litre improved production under 2-litre sort of sports sedan sort of deal. But it's getting used. It's seeing the track on a regular basis. The new owner's pretty happy with it. He's put a proper LSD in it. He's put a cage in it. And
away you go.
Yeah. He's had to change a couple of things with wheel tyre setup to be within the regulations. But it's done Phillip Island, it's done Winton.
Nice.
It's done some good tracks and it's done some good times. So I'm happy that, I got to pass it on to somebody that appreciates it as much as me and gets to use it. And
it's gone to a good home.
Yeah, it's gone to a good home. I'm happy. Do I regret selling it? I don't think I do. I do miss it. I miss that I owned it for 10 plus years and made it into what it was. But there's other exciting things in life to chase.
Yeah, 100%. So last time we left off with my cars, so we had Project Big Rig. So I didn't do anything else other than what we filmed, because that was one of our most filmed build cars, actually.
Yeah? 4 or 5 episodes or something like
Yeah,
that.
4 or 5 episodes. So last time we left off, it was tuned, exhaust. That thing ripped for what it was, for a 2.3 litre diesel. It was a ripper. But yeah, that was our tow car. We went to a lot of events as SpeedRun in that truck, so...
It saw some kilometres.
It saw some kilometres. We did some filming out of the back of it, and yeah, it was good. Ended up having a accident in it, so where a car cut across the front of me and ended up T-boning them. Unfortunately, my wife was in the car with me, and she was trapped more or less. Like, her door wouldn't open and stuff like that, which rattled her a lot. And since then, she wouldn't actually drive it herself, so I made the decision to move it along. It got fixed under insurance, got sold. I ended up picking up a Jeep Grand Cherokee. And that's just been a daily, nothing special on that. It's been factory, just does its thing.
I guess we've each got our own, outside of the channel, family cars, other cars that aren't worth talking about.
That's it.
We've both got 3 cars essentially.
Yeah.
Currently have 3 cars essentially. 2 of them both I wouldn't mention.
Yeah, that's.
But yeah, I think you are right. The Jeep never made the channel. It wasn't worthy of the channel, but it did help us. It got us unstuck a couple of times.
It did.
Got out of trouble.
Yeah.
But I think more importantly, everyone wants to know about the Evo.
The Evo I owned for 13, 14 years. I had it for a very long time. I bought it from Japan, completely stock standard.
A lot of people probably don't know that.
Yeah, well, maybe they don't.
Where it came from and what sort of car it started off as?
Yeah, look, that's fair. So it was my daily driver for a long time. I drove to work in it. Bought it completely stock standard, 6-speed manual, just a Evo 8 GSR. And I always sort of enjoyed doing track days, so I kind of built it out that way to be a track car. So did the coilovers, the sway bars, that type of stuff. Got some R33 GTR wheels with some sticky rubber. I got sick of those wheels, so I put some R34 GTR wheels on it. I ended up putting louder exhaust, titanium exhaust.
Snowboard.
Started to snowball. From there, I sort of did my first engine build on it, 2.3 litre with a FP Black turbo, just like a stock frame, bolt-on turbo, but a big boy. E85. Oh, sorry, before the FP Black, I put a Trust T67 turbo on it.
Old school.
That's how long I'd owned this car. So that's when those things were
popular.
Yeah. Which was a laggy piece of crap. Anyway, I did the 2.3 litre, ended up having a few issues with it. So I went to rebuild it. Took it to a workshop in southwest Sydney, a very, very popular one, to rebuild it into a 2.2 litre. Went full billet, crank, the works. The intention was to convert it to a Myvec head as well, and I was still going to run the FP Black on it because they were a good turbo at the time. Like, it was still cranking. I got jerked around, essentially. So as part of this build, I was like, the paint's starting to get tired, I'll send it off to a paint shop. Okay, so as I was actually working in the Northern Territory at the time, so I organised for the company doing the build. They were going to project manage the build for me, so they organised to send it off to their favourite paint and panel shop. And the bodywork snowballed from there. So I went from just a respray to, hey, let's do a little bit of a wide body because I'm going to put wider wheels on it, to let's go for a full wide body. And the car wasn't touched for, I couldn't tell you how long, ages. Meanwhile, while it's sitting there, I'm getting itchy because I love to modify. I love things that aren't factory. I love modifying things. So you as well. You came to Sydney. We ripped the guts out of the interior, bolted a roll cage. We full stripped pretty much all the crap out. So it was definitely not coming back as a street car after that.
This is all before SpeedRun was even thought of.
Yeah, it was actually. I think SpeedRun was starting to happen. Was it during that first workshop? Maybe not.
No, it
Maybe
wasn't.
it's when we moved it to the next. So anyway, it sat at this body shop for fucking ages. No one would work on it. So I ended up just calling up a tow truck. I pulled it out of the shop. Contacted a good friend that I'd met through the car scene from my first engine build, who'd opened up his own body shop. So I sent it to him, and within 6 weeks or 8 weeks, we'd gone for a full Voltex body kit, full in and out respray, the works, in time for World Time Attack. It was like 6 to 8 weeks. It was like, boom, the car's ready to go.
Yeah, because it actually took priority. Somebody actually wanted to work on it and make your vision come to life, essentially.
Yeah, that's it. And that's when we first got on the Carbon Plus stand after that.
Yeah, okay.
So that turned a lot of heads on that first build, on that first sort of show. And from there, we actually replaced the roll cage again. Managed to get the engine back from the engine builder, who was organising all this stuff and did nothing. Sent it to someone else, who also didn't finish it. Anyway, long story, just trimming a little bit off the back end. I just got sick of being dicked around by workshops. Like, no one could finish it. I didn't think it was that hard. So it just got to the point where I'm sick of spending money and it's not actually getting finished. So I made the decision to part it out and sell it. Unfortunately, like, I'd owned the car for 13, 14 years, and it just got to the point where I'm just sick of dicking around with it, sick of workshops dicking around with me.
It's still one of the questions wherever we
Yeah.
people always ask, where is it, what's happening with it. It is one of those.
It was iconic. Like, when it unveiled at World Time Attack, it was an iconic car.
It's just, I know personally how much frustration and stress it caused you with constantly being let down. And we went from we had a good run and a good momentum with, body stuff, body work, paint, cage, all that sort of stuff. The fit out of, I guess, safety equipment as well.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Seats and all that sort of stuff. We had some good people that we know now quite well to help out. But then when it got to any stage where it was engine related or actually let's turnkey,
Make it happen.
it was a dead end.
Yeah. So disappointing. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I would have loved to have seen it start and run, and even then move on to a new owner. But we had a very serious conversation about it, and I think that was at the time where I'd sold the Integra, and I'm like, you got to do whatever you need to do to keep yourself happy, and if you sell it or part it out or whatever it may be, think about the next step or what else then you can kind of get into.
And I was, not only was it the frustration of, this project car, this dream that I've always had to have the car the way it was turning out. Not only was that frustration, there's the added frustration is that I enjoyed doing track days so much, and I just couldn't do track days. Like, I hadn't done track days in years. I'd done one or two in your car, and that was about it. And it was just so infuriating. It's like, what do I do for fun on the weekends? It was driving me fucking mad. So we parted it out. A good friend, again, that I met through the car scene in Sydney. I towed it to his house, my trailer, which I bought specifically for the Evo for when it was running. And within 8 hours, we had it pulled apart, packaged up, and we moved along the parts. The body shell went to WA.
Yep.
We had the engine he actually bought, so he's going to get the engine running and put it into his own Evo. Gearbox went to, I think it was South Australia. Like, parts just went everywhere. It was like vultures, because it had some good quality stuff on it, but it's just not being able to finish it.
Yeah.
That's what it came down to.
Yeah. Not the ideal way you wanted to finish the build.
I wanted to finish it and drive it, but
It wasn't to be.
it just wasn't to be, unfortunately.
Sometimes in life you got to take the L.
I took the L big time on that one.
Yeah. Well, let's get on to something good then.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So, as I said before, there's an elephant in the room. A big white elephant.
There's a couple of elephants in here.
There is a couple of elephants. Again, this is a new situation. This is a new area.
This is a new area. Yeah, so moved house 12 months ago. Decided to set up a bit of a man cave, and
now we are pretty much neighbours.
we are neighbours. We live maybe 2 blocks,
Yeah.
3 blocks away. Like, it's
Not far.
nothing.
Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah,
But I think we were having a conversation the other day because our cars have now changed. I was going to say lifestyles, possibly our lifestyles, but also
just our outlook, I think.
yeah, what we enjoy as a fun car is something that 5 years ago I would have never thought I would have been currently.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll start off
Yeah,
first.
you go, man. You go.
After the XR6 Turbo sold, I think we were having a conversation about, okay, what's next? What do you look at? Short list of cars. Is it going to be something Euro? Let's try something Euro. What was the short list of cars? A couple of Audis, V-dubs, bits and pieces. I don't really know. I'm not going to take anything seriously until I actually start looking and test driving cars. I picked up a 2014 Audi S3. Absolutely love the car. So I think the test drives that I did, I was looking at BMW M135i's.
135s.
Test drove a couple of those. I really liked them. And then I was going to test drive a couple of Golf R's but never got around to it. And then this Audi popped up pretty close to where we live. And I thought, how about I swing past, take it for a test drive? I fell in love with it straight away. I loved the handling and the grip that it had, and the down low, I guess, torque. It was a punchy thing. So I've owned that for 16 months now, 18 months. Fun car. It's definitely one of those ones that I appreciate how cheap the Integra was to fix and the XR6 Turbo was to fix. Parts are readily available. And not overly expensive. Anything on the Audi that I have to fix is expensive. It's $1,000 for anything on it. Plus, it's had its fair share of things. It's water pump, alternator, couple of weird little maintenance things along the way. But it's a fun car. I reckon it rips.
I love it. I think it's a great car.
Yeah. In terms of drivability, daily use. Yeah, I got 2 kids, so it's a 4-door. I've got kid seats in the back, so I can drive them around, take them to school and whatever I need to do. It's a fun little car. I never thought, SpeedRun time, wouldn't have looked at them twice. Weren't on my radar, wasn't really interested. In terms of mods, kept it pretty basic. That I got a forged carbon AMS intake.
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
A couple other little turbo things, muffler deletes, elbows, all that sort of stuff. Everyone does it at the same time, so why not? Miltech catback.
Another great choice. Yeah.
Another great choice.
With resonator.
Resonator and using the OEM valves.
Yes.
Yep. Can't stand any Golf, Audi, whatever sort of resonator
Fart
delete.
box.
Yeah, it's just I'm an old man now. My taste has changed. I want to be able to control volume. The kids don't want some drony crap, loud thing in the back.
Yeah.
Yep, they want to enjoy the fart noises when they want to enjoy the fart noises.
That's it.
Not all the time. So it's great. I love it. I think we said before, there's other cars that we own that probably aren't worth mentioning.
Yeah.
One's just a daily to and from work now, which I picked up pretty recently. So the Audi's not getting as many Ks on it as it was. So now I can take the kid seats out of it and use the other car for ratting around town with the kids and doing all that. And now I've got a nice car to sit in the garage and needs a bit of attention and whatnot. The Audi's the fun car at the moment. So.
And a fun car it is.
Yeah, we've had some fun in it.
Yeah. It's a little rocket ship, actually.
Yeah.
Makes the right sounds, looks good. I like it. Yeah.
Maybe selling it. So.
Watch this space?
Yeah. Your collection's changed?
Yeah, my collection's changed, so... other than the daily driver stuff, which isn't worth talking about, when I sold the Evo, one of the dreams that I've had for a long time is actually to own a Harley. So I think it was within a couple of weeks of selling. I purchased a 2020 Harley Davidson Lowrider S. And because I can't leave anything standard, it's got exhaust, intake, tuner. I've put a cam in it. It's a rocket ship. It's a whole lot of fun. So that's been fun. That thing. Car front. So about 18 months ago, it's probably before then, but I started looking at, what do I replace the Evo with? I've now sold the Evo. I've released, all that commitment I've got tied up in that car. So what do I look at? So I started looking at things like BMW 140i, M140i. Eventually that thinking evolved into let's look at an M2. So I was actually looking at brand new M2s. I was going to buy one because it was the last of the M2 competitions. It was really attractive that you get 5 years servicing, 5 years, it's all included. That was really attractive to me. I was very close to actually getting one. And then on your suggestion, it was, hey, well, why don't you look at M3? Like a new M2 is sort of second-hand M3 sort of money. So I tracked in a couple that I really liked. I even went all the way to Toowoomba to test drive one, and that one in particular made me fall in love with M3. It was like, I've got to get myself a F80 M3. Had all the mods well, not all the mods, but it had in particular the exhaust that the guy had on it. It was very tastefully done. Had a few carbon trinkets on the inside and the Akrapovic exhaust, which was just beautiful. So I made an offer. Unfortunately, that one fell through. And the white elephant in the room, I picked up relatively locally. I think I got it for a pretty reasonable price considering COVID was starting to take off. And yeah, so I've got a 2018 M3 competition. I purchased it with 50,000 Ks on it, still with the service pack. I absolutely love it. It does everything that I want it to do. It's a great daily. If I want to daily it, I can tear up the track like it's no one's business. It turns heads, or depending on the crowds, it doesn't turn heads. It's 4-door. I can bring Tim and his kids along. We can do everything in it. So I really love it. Since buying it, I bought, again, this is another one of the stories where I bought it completely stock standard. And I have done a few more than just 1 or 2 mods to it. So I'm not sure if we'll cover it in a video or not, but
Can I just say, I like the direction that you went with the mods. So one was the Acra exhaust. After having a taste of that,
Yeah.
I remember straight away, as soon as you bought this, you said, I know what I've got to find. And I think you picked it up for a relatively good price, a second-hand one. It sounds amazing. We were having this conversation not long ago that a lot of people don't like this straight six turbo sound with the Acura exhaust. I do. I'm a big fan of it. I just think that exhaust is the right fit for this car.
That's what I think too. Still got middle resonator. It's got the flaps. It all works with all the factory valving and everything. So I can push a button and it's in efficient mode, and you wouldn't even know it's an M3. Or you can push it and you're on Sport Plus and it pops and bangs, and you followed me on multiple drives now and you know how loud it gets.
Rips, cracks.
Yeah. It's just, I guess, my vision for this car is I kind of want to build a little bit of a GT sort of experience, but in the sort of M car world. You know, like you get the Porsche GT3, maybe not that extreme, but GT4, that sort of experience, but in the M3. So going into it with that mentality, I haven't cheaped out the exhaust. I've gone a nice titanium exhaust. I've put some aftermarket forged wheels on it, which are smaller in diameter. Comes with 20 stock. I put on some 19s with some Cut 2 rubber.
Big boy rubber on the rear though.
Yeah, it runs 295s at the back, so it's chonky. What else have I done? Pads, lines, that basic stuff. A lot of the stuff that I have done to it is under the skin and not many people would see, but I've actually I've put in A-Bark springs. It's got some Milway camber top plates at the front. And then from there, I've replaced a lot of the suspension stuff with Team Sherma, who build the fastest M cars pretty much on the Nürburgring. So I've pretty much ordered other than their coilovers, I've pretty much ordered their catalogue, and that's what the car's sitting on at the moment. So they've got all their tricky offset bushes and realignments and kinematics kit underneath it.
With the power it's now making as well.
Yes.
It's very impressive.
Speaking of power, so while I've done the Acropovic exhaust, still got standard dump pipes, still got standard intake, intercoolers, all that stuff's factory. So it's only the catback exhaust, but I've tuned it, courtesy of our friends at Advan Performance. It makes a lot of power now. It makes a lot of power, considering it's got a catback exhaust.
And a panel filter, and that's it.
Yeah, some drop-in panel filters. It's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like a full intake system. It rips now. Yeah, I mean, not that it didn't before. It's an M3. Let's be serious, but it hauls ass.
Yeah.
And with the tyres and what I've done with the kinematics and the suspension geometry, it feels like it's on absolute rails. There's so much grip. I'm a bit like you in the sense that getting older, I don't want a droney piece of crap now. So the fact that, both our cars, but you can put them in the comfort mode and you can't hear the exhaust. It's such a different experience to what
we're used to.
What we're used to with the Japanese cars and.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's safe to say then a lot's changed in 5 years.
A lot's changed in 5 years,
yeah. I guess that's kind of where we wanted to wrap up this one. We're going to dive straight into another episode, but we'll end this one here because I think we have a lot more still to discuss. Not so much about us and our cars, but how things have changed in 5 years. We're still active in the community at afar. We still see what happens. We're still on social media and stuff and keep a close eye on the car community and how things have changed. So I've got some important questions or some fun questions to start the next video on. But yeah, that's it for this this episode. I guess that's a bit of a where are these idiots now?
And let us know what you think of the new format.
Yeah.
Like a bit of a podcasty sort of casual format.
Well, we don't have to travel anywhere,
I like that.
so that's already, it's in our favour. But yeah, I do agree with Alex. Just let us know what you guys think. If this works, we may do more. If not, that is what it is. We'll wrap it up there. But
Thanks.
yeah, thanks for everything over the past, not 5 years, because we haven't done anything, but prior to that, thanks for all the support and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry that we went incognito for such a long time, and we're only coming out now to discuss it, but that's life.
That's it.
I hope everyone out there's doing well as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, take care of yourselves. All right, well, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Good to see you.
You too.